Welcome to Chapter 2 of the Health Fitness Management book. We are in Sports Business Management, and we will be talking about the organizational design today. Again, there's lots of different type of health fitness club organization, and it's changing quite rapidly. So the things that you're going to see in here are somewhat traditional. Again, we don't have slides for this particular book. I've reached out to other campuses. Nobody has slides for this. We've never done it online. It's one of those things that we usually do with a mix of, like putting things up on the blackboard and showing some videos and doing a bunch of those things, which doesn't really bode well for trying to do this online with limited resources. So fortunately, you guys will look at my name. I have encouraged you all to get the book so you can follow along with me as we go. And I'll walk you through it. And hopefully when we do the online live and the live sessions, we'll be able to use the classroom and get on the boards and do that. Um, so let's look at kind of a generalized idea of what a fitness gym or something along those lines will look like. So again, you walk in, you got your front desk staff. And they'll, sometimes they're sales associates, sometimes they're other things. Sorry guys, I got stuff going on my phone. It's actually some of you texting and stuff. So you walk in, you got front desk staff, you're going to have cleaning staff, you're going to have sales staff at some places. Sometimes the front desk and sales are intertwined. They are one and the same. Sometimes you'll have front desk staff that basically they check people in, give them towels, check out equipment, if there's equipment to check out at the gym. They may have like a smoothie bar or supplements that they sell up at the front desk, or they may have a separate area for that. So that could be a whole other thing. You may have a little food service area. But then some places they'll have where they, so like that, they'll check them in and do all that. And then if you want to come in for new membership or to renew your membership, they'll have a sales associate team. Your sales associate team is just kind of like, it's almost like the hold on one sec. Let me write this guy back. All right. So they'll take you back, and they got, they'll have this sales team that, again, what they're doing is they have a base salary, and with this base salary they work off commission, right? So the more sales they get the commission. So it works just like, selling cars or anything else. I'm not a big fan of that in health fitness. I mean, I get the reason why is because, the more motivated you are to sell memberships and everything, you get a lot of people in, it makes the gym money. I think for sustainability of gyms, the whole, like, just get as many people in, not really like make sure that that gym's the right fit for the folks that are in there. I think getting people in, getting them engaged and involved, um, and creating an amazing experience, I honestly think is a better platform for fitness. I know it's like kind of revolutionary. Um, in the traditional gym um, way they do things now. I'm going to talk a little bit about how CrossFit gyms work, and their business premise, and some of the things that I like a lot better. Okay, and again, I'm not an advocate necessarily for CrossFit. There's a lot of things that I feel like they do wrong in the way that they run things, more from a not from the business side. On the business side, everything's great from a safety. When we look at safety protocols and things like that, and the amount of unqualified coaches that work in those places, and the high risk type of movements that typically are integrated into the workouts, I feel is a recipe for disaster. And again, it's not that a CrossFit workout can't be done safely. If you have really good coaches, I've actually been to some CrossFit gyms that I would say are top notch, and their coaching staff is top notch. They keep the class sizes small. They really harp on safety. They really harp on doing the lifts correctly. They tell you to stop when you need to stop. I mean, they do all that right. Okay, so if any of y'all are into CrossFit, or anybody's, get when I say this, I have been to some gyms that I would say, this is a great gym. I'd recommend it to anybody as long as you're kind of into the whole, like boot camp, CrossFit type of workouts, those type of things, go for it. Okay. But overwhelmingly, majority of the CrossFit gyms are kind of in the same mindset. Get as many bodies into the classes, get as many folks into the gym as possible. And they just do not have the coach to, they call their clients athletes. So they do not have the correct coach to athlete ratio. Much less the majority of the coaches don't have any formal educational training to really understand, what those lifts are, what they're about, like when to call them, how to really properly teach techniques on a lot of the movements and things like that. And so, a lot of them are just folks that have been going to CrossFit for so long. They really like it. They go do the level 1 cert or whatever, they have their level certs with no education. And to be honest, it's the same problem we see in the commercial gyms. The amount of personal trainers are out there that don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. They can just sell themselves, and give really horrible advice is just astronomical. Okay. And so we have that problem across the industry. And so when you hear folks like me, because you'll hear a lot of professors and stuff that are not really big on CrossFit, that's really what it is. It's just, majority of times that we go in to look at facilities and things like that, because we want to send students wherever they want to go. And it's just, you walk in and you see a bunch of like risk no-nos. But I will say I've been to a few gyms that, great coaching staff, here down in Miami, Blueprint CrossFit. The few times I've been in there, because we've sent students over there, they run their place very well. It's very safe. It's very, they do a great job. I can't really speak for any of the other CrossFit gyms down here in Miami. I know there's one up in Hialeah that I know the owner. I think he, from just speaking with him, I'm guessing he runs a really good program. And I know I've been to one that, to me, it's the gold standard is there's one in Austin, Texas called CrossFit Central, run by Jeremy Thiel. And I think he's done an excellent job there. So with that said, they run a whole different thing. They don't have the sales associates, it's kind of one, a lot of times the folks at the front, sometimes they have folks at the front desk. Sometimes the folks at the front desk are also the coaches and things like that. So they, it's really streamlined the way they do things. Again, one of the difference between, we won't get into when we get to the equipment and the size of gyms and stuff, we'll kind of talk about the benefits they have there too. But what I wanted to talk about here, especially in the sales part, is where traditional gyms just want to get as many people in the door, and they don't care if you come or don't come. They try to sell you on like year memberships or monthly payments and all that type of stuff, and you're just going to keep paying it no matter what, whether you're there or not, and they don't care whether you get in shape or not. The CrossFit mentality or the gym structure is they build a tribe community. And what happens there is you sort of, a lot of people will be like, it's like a cult. Well, yeah, I get why they say that. But what they do is you come in and you go to a class and you meet the people in the class, and everybody, you got folks there that are like training for the CrossFit Games. So they're all, like not only jacked, but probably like taking steroids and stuff like that because they got to be competitive. So you got these guys and girls that are just freaking yoked out of their mind. You got some folks that are in really good shape, some folks that are in kind of good shape. You got some folks that are not in good shape, but they've been coming for a little bit. And then you got some folks that like are just starting in their horrible shape. And they're all in these classes, and everybody's cheering everybody on, and they create a sense of community. They create a sense of belonging. They create a sense of like, we know when you're not here, and it's not like we're going to like call you and be like, you lazy punk. It's more like, hey, we miss you, come back. And it's a really great idea because again, it's a lot easier to not only keep your members, so people are coming because they're having a great experience, but that's your best advertisement right there. Is one, you got some guy or some girl that was way out of shape, now they're looking great. People are like, hey, what's going on? How'd this happen? They're like, oh, I've been going to this CrossFit gym, it's amazing. What do you think people want to do when they're thinking, well, I really want to get in shape? I've been to the gym, I hate the gym. But then they hear this thing is different and amazing. There's your advertisement, right? And this is where traditional gyms miss the boat because they think it's a numbers game of sales, not a numbers game of keeping people there interested in going, right? And so you have these you got the general manager who's running this whole show. You got owners above that, depending on like how big the gym structures are, whether it's a local place, or it's a little bit more regionalized like UFit, or it's like a big conglomerate like Planet Fitness or 24 Hour or LA Fitness or any of those, right? And so you may have a general manager that oversees the sales associates. You'll have like a personal training department that may or may not have a personal training manager. And then you'll have group exercise department that may or may not have a group exercise coordinator. And so under those, the person, so you have the general manager that's just strictly over everybody, or they've got a tier system where it's general manager, then you got a sales manager that's over all the sales. Personal training managers can be over your trainers, and group exercise coordinator over the group exercise. Now, again, sometimes the group X and personal training manager are one and the same. Sometimes they are not. Okay. So one of the things you need to understand is no matter the size is you've got to have roles and responsibilities for everybody there, right? And again, we talked about this in chapter 1. You need to have clear picture of, like what the organization's about, but you need to give a clear picture of what people's job duties are. It's frustrating coming into a new job. You're like, what do I do? Yeah, we'll get to you later. And you're sitting there, right, waiting for somebody, and then they're like, well, we like self-starters, jump in and do something. Well, sometimes that works, especially you get somebody coming in, if they've done a similar job, like you got somebody at front desk, they've been at a front desk before for other gyms, they kind of have a clue what's going on. You got personal trainers, they personal trained before in other places. Yeah, they know where to go and what to do and things like that. But sometimes you hire folks, this is their first position in the fitness industry, and you're giving them no training, you're giving them no direction, you don't even have a piece of paper that tells them what to do. All right. So you got to give them roles and responsibilities. It's got to be clear. You know, don't be vague on things. You know, get list specific responsibilities, and then if you're like, yeah, but sometimes I do some extra stuff. Guess what? That's other duties as assigned, and that's fine. But those are the little things that aren't done every day, and those are little things that like just come up from here and like here and there. Okay. Um, Write a job description. Again, you're going to need this for when you post it to get somebody in the door to come apply. But it also helps, again, when developing, like, here's what your job is going to be. All right. So there's for-profit organizations, which is the majority of them out there. And then we'll talk for like non-for-profit is like the YMCA. There's other, you know, like community rec centers, you know, university rec centers and things like that, depending on if it's a for-profit or non-for-profit university. They all run pretty much the same in a lot of regards. Um, you know, other than you'll find in the non-for-profits, they will not have the sales associate team because they don't need it. You know, they're non-for-profit. Now they may want people in the gym and everything, but um, they're not. You know, they're not trying to just bombard people into the door. You know, and again, a lot of times at universities and stuff, they may have a captive audience, and you know, hey, oh, we've got the, you know, they usually give a good discount to the to the students and staff to work out there. So it's usually, you know, and it's right, you know, they're there anyway. So, you know, proximity, price, and you got a good product, you know, people are coming in, right? Um, so, you know, there's going to be revenue that's going to be in there. You'll have dues and non-due revenue. So dues are going to be like the you know, like you pay your monthly due, yearly due, or whatever it is, you know, the contract for you being in there. And then non-due revenue is going to be stuff like your you know, if you have extra amenities, right? So I worked this really kind of high end fitness facility when I first moved down here, and I was personal training, doing some group exercise and some other stuff for them, just on the side while I was kind of getting established down here in South Florida, and I had a little bit of free time, so I was doing some things. I mean, they had a full on like little restaurant. They've got different sports leagues you have to pay extra for. They had they have a lot of tennis. So you know, again, that you get, you know, they had the tennis coaches, which, you know, sort of like, you know, it's an, you know, it's like the personal training department. So, you know, again, that's a non-revenue thing. Like if you want personal training or tennis coaching and things like that. They had swim lessons for kids. They had a nice pool, you know, all that. On top of that, you know, like, or like you pay for classes and things like that. They've got a tennis pro shop, so you could buy tennis items there, you know, like rackets and clothes and shoes. Um, they had a nutritional supplement area where you go buy that stuff. They had a massage clinic where you could go pay for massages. They had a salon um, where you could go get haircuts and, you know, all kinds of stuff, right? All non-due revenue, right? Um, and so again, it's you know, I mean, every gym's, you know, you got gyms like that, and then you got some gyms that are definitely more streamlined, right? Um, so we'll talk position by position and sort of what you expect at that position. So you got your general manager who's just going to be like, I mean, they're basically responsible for everything that happens in the gym, money going, coming in, going out, and all the people that work there, the you know, like making sure everything is maintained, you know, it's up to certain standards, you know, people have safe experiences. I mean, you're responsible, you are the manager, whether you're directly responsible or you got folks in between you and that responsibility, you're the person in charge. Typically, they want you to have a bachelor's degree either in some type of business or exercise science or sports management or exercise management, something along those lines. Um, Again, a lot of times they like the managers to come from sales, right? Because again, where's the most money made? Sales. So they want somebody that really understands sales. again, this is typical in any business. You know, most managers come from sales because they want folks that can cultivate a high sales profit, right? Um, Again, I honestly believe in the gym aspect. It's better to have somebody that's more fitness oriented, because again, I think if these folks, you know, like if they can train their sales, because sometimes I've been in gyms, and I've actually been a sales associate for a gym at one point, where most of the people that were in the sales actually didn't know jack squat about fitness, right? So, you know, and again, when people come in, they want to ask those questions. And, you know, they had these very generalized, memorized responses to me that were just straight garbage. And then, you know, you know, within the first 3 months I was there, I was the top salesperson in the sales department, and actually moved up to management. And I basically hurdled. I mean, I uh, I leapfrogged over a lady that'd been there for like 10 years. It's just a sales. She was the sales director, and she'd been there for like 10 years. And my sales were killing hers, even though she was our director and was our top sales, and then the other top salespeople under her. And it's, you know, I'm not a salesperson. I honestly, like, if you put me in car sales, I would fail. Because I just, and the reason is like, I know some people that can sell anything to anybody. I'm not that type of person. The reason I could sell better than them is because I know so much about fitness. And so when people are coming in and I could tell them about all the benefits that they're going to gain, you know, it's not even, you know, in all honesty, most of us tell them these are all things they could get at pretty much any gym they go in. But the fact that they could ask me a question and I can answer it truthfully and give them all the information, they just like that. And that's why I sold, is because I had a product that I completely understood and believed in. That's why, right? And so again, that's why I feel it's better to have folks like that, and I feel it's better to have your salespeople be fitness people, right? Don't go hire business folks, you know, like folks with business degrees to sell in a gym. Get fitness folks. Go get folks with kinesiology degrees and exercise science degrees, things like that. Okay, so again, if you look at a full scale big corporation, you'll have like the president, CEO around there. You may also have like a board of trustees, so to speak. Underneath that, you'll have corporate staff. So like you'll have regional managers and administrative folks in that area. They will oversee your general manager. So we're kind of getting into what we were talking about a minute ago. You know, again, under the general manager, these are some of the typical like management positions would be like fitness director, membership director, service manager, operations manager, club accountant. You know, again, you may have a club accountant, or you may have accountants that, you know, like all the money comes in and stuff, you send it up to corporate, and they have accountants that look over, you know, they may have several accountant, you know, like accountant for like 2 or 3 clubs or something like that. Service managers in charge of front desk, possible childcare. Sometimes they will have a childcare manager as well. Membership director will do the membership consultants. Your operations manager is in charge of the maintenance crew, housekeeping crew, you know, make sure the facility's up and running all the time. Your fitness director will usually oversee the personal training manager, Group X manager, you know, who the personal training will be over personal training. Group X is going to be over your Group X instructors. They say on here Pilates, which to me is just in Group X as well. Sometimes you'll just have the personal training Group X manager that oversees all those, and then you'll have program manager who may be in charge of, or like the fitness floor manager who's in charge of scheduling everybody to be on the fitness floor, supervising and stuff. Um, Again, you know, it just depends. Each company's structured slightly different, but those are, I mean, that pretty much hits the majority of positions you might see. Um, so we went from general manager. Now we're going to kind of go to the other end. So front desk associate, um, or administrative assistant. You know, again, most of the time these are folks that, you know, they're out of high school, maybe they're in college. You know, they have, you want folks that are just people folks up there. You know, you want, you know, like happy smiling faces. You know, they're customer service, right? So these are the faces people see every day. um you know, at that really nice gym, I'll tell you, there was a kid that worked, and this kid's a 4:30 in the morning kid. I really liked him. You know, every morning, great attitude, and again, this is a crowd. You know, 4:30 in the morning is not when you get a bunch, like, you don't get drop-ins at 4:30. These people all come in. It's always the same people, right? This dude would see folks walking in from the parking lot, and you know, some people, like, when they first come in, they want a cup of coffee. Some people, when they first come in at that, you know, they want like one or two towel, you know, whatever it is they want. This kid would already have them checked in as they're walking up. You know, if there's somebody that wanted like wanted coffee or whatever, he'd already have their coffee like sitting there, like in the little cup with the lid, and you know, like the way they like it. I mean, just incredible. As soon as I walked in, he'd be like, "Hi, Mrs. So and So. Hi, Mr. So and So. You know, how's, you know, like this kid?" Or, you know, like, it was amazing. I mean, and he just knew everybody, and he made, you know, he was perfect for that position, right? That's what you want. You know, you address all their needs, you know. And he was one of those that he was doing that while he's working on, he was a college student and everything. And so, you know, I mean, you know, he's one of those, like, you know, I'm like, man, they need to hire this kid and just give him, like, you know, they probably don't pay you that well at the front desk. They need to give this kid like a management salary, but just have him work front desk all the time. I mean, it was incredible, right? It's hard to find folks like that. Membership directors, let's just say they're the top sales director. That's what it is, right? You know, they've got quotas to meet. They've got, they're gonna make their folks have quotas and everything. You know, these are folks that are going to have several years of sales experience. They probably are going to have a bachelor's degree in either some type of business background or exercise science background. Like I said, the exercise science will do way better. um, you know, again, the whole schmoozing for schmoozing's sake is not a good, I just don't really, you know, one of the worst things you can do is sell somebody something they don't like or need, and then they get mad, and then they just blast you, right? And I think that's the problem when you get business people working in the gym facility selling memberships, is because they meet their quotas, but then you get people in there that aren't really ready to get in there, or you sell them on the wrong package just because it's more expensive or whatever else. You know, you're not really listening to what they need, or you can't answer their needs, so you just sell them something. And so somebody's unhappy or unsatisfied with what they've paid money on, they will let everybody know. And that is not a good thing. And that's why I think it's important to have exercise science people in the sales department. If you're going to have a sales department, I honestly think sales departments are unnecessary in the gym facilities. And you can pretty much go to any CrossFit gym and you'll see that. Okay. Because they got people coming in, right? Membership salespeople, again, you know, you want them to have sales experience. If you're going to have that, you know, they won't have as much as their boss, but you know, whatever. So it's basically the same thing I just said, but less experience. Fitness directors, again, they need to have a bachelor's degree in some type of exercise science background. They need to have a certification, you know, at least one. If you want them teaching certain group exercise stuff, sometimes you have to have some extra. If you're going to be working with the athletes in the facility, you're going to have your NSCA, CSCS, so on and so forth. So, you know, just depends. Again, the fitness director is probably not going to be fresh out of college. You know, they're going to usually have some experience before they move up to that, you know, either being a personal trainer or something along those lines. Um, Again, they're going to be integral in making sure the trainers are doing all the stuff they need to do, right? So your fitness director will usually do some training, but more importantly, they need to be training the trainers. They need to be overseeing the trainers, making sure the trainers are doing everything they're supposed to be doing. You know, uh, it's a management thing. So it's a mix of getting down dirty and being in there with clients, and then a mix of being like, set apart, like making sure your trainers are fulfilling their clients' needs and so on and so forth. So getting into the personal training, they need basically the same qualifications. They just may have less years underneath their belt, or maybe even no years underneath their belt in actual training. So um, with that, again, there are gyms that will hire somebody that just has a certification. I think that's a mistake. I think everybody needs to have a bachelor's degree, but whatever. Um, Again, they've got to be really good with member service. And again, they need, this is one thing I always tell trainers. When you enter into a contract with training a person, the goal is to have them for a good amount of time. Like, again, I don't agree with this. Like, you have a client for the last 8 years. If by 8 years they can't figure out what they're doing, you're not educating them well enough. Other than if you have somebody that maybe is like a special needs that needs somebody to help them with the equipment and things like that because of physical or mental special needs, then yes, you may be a trainer with somebody for years and years and years. But if you have a fully functioning adult, if they are with you more than, like I say 2 years max, and that's even being very liberal with the amount of time that you should be with somebody. Your goal is not only to help them reach their goals fitness wise, but your goal needs to be able to educate them so that they can take care of themselves and maintain those fitness goals. And again, that's where trainers get this weird thing of like, well, I want money coming in, so I want to keep these people. But what you don't understand is when you graduate them, and I think of it that way because you're now their fitness professor, so to speak. They come in, you're working with them, you're motivating them, helping them reach their goals. You help them develop a sense of internal motivation, help them develop the IQ to make their way through the gym, through the cardio, create their own things when they graduate. Those are the folks that leave happy and they look good, feel good, whatever it is. And people ask them, what happened to you? And they say, oh, I was working with this girl, or I was working with this guy. It's incredible. They changed my life. Now I feel great, whatever. Guess what? You may lose a client, but you may gain 6 in their place or 10 in their place because everybody that sees them and thinks they look amazing, or, they're just, oh yeah, I'm off my meds, I don't have to take this and this, my doctor cleared me because I'm in such great shape, blah, blah, blah. Whatever benefits they gain from spending time with you, they will tell people, and you will be mentioned because you are their hero. You help them out. They will be thankful. And so again, different mindset than traditional training mindset is, I've got the secret to your success. I will not share it, but I will kill you in the gym and I'll try to motivate you, right? It's a piss poor structure for sustainability, okay? And I'm just going to say it outright, okay? So yeah, let's just go there. One of the things trainers need to be good at, if they're not already good at, is lots of paperwork, right? They're going to fill out part Qs, medical history, all that stuff. You may have them fill out contracts of what they want, like what you're going to say, okay, well, I need you this, however you want to do all that stuff. And you got to keep that stuff where you can find it. Okay. Not for profit. So when we think of the YMCA, I'm going to just hit all these. I'm going to say all the names of these different jobs that they do. And again, not all non-for-profits are going to be this way. You've got YMCA's, Jewish community centers, hospital-based clinics, faith-based clinics, parks and rec centers, like I said, fitness centers at universities, so on and so forth. So they have a YMCA board of directors. Underneath that, they have their president, CEO. They may have like a COO, or they all those like people that make way, like they make a lot of money, folks. All right, underneath that, they've got senior program executives who talk about and develop all their senior programming and all those things worldwide. They've got their financial development, making sure that, they're getting all the money they need to secure and run all the gyms that they have. Again, member and marketing directors, finance, human resource directors. Again, big companies are going to have human resources rather than just, a few folks that are interviewing. Building and properties directors, because again, they're constantly having to buy and sell buildings and things like that, and outfit them and like create this type of thing. And again, you'll see this at a lot of big major gym corporations as well. So they're going to have that whole other upper part. Again, one of the things they bring up on here that they will have at other private gyms too is like things like aquatic directors. The YMCA has both women's wellness centers and men's wellness centers, youth and senior fitness things. They do capital campaigns. They get, like donations, and they have a whole, they've got a whole plethora of some other positions that, because of just the vast, ginormous scale that the YMCA is, right? And again, with the nonprofit, you have to have a lot of checks and balances with that. Again, I'm about to say this, this is a new position. It's really not a new position, but when you look at the scope of practice of the fitness industry, this is one of the newer positions that we have in our industry. And again, we're looking at like a, we're looking at 20 to 30 years. So it's like a full grown adult, so to speak. But in the grand scheme of things, this is like, sort of a child position. And it's the health and wellness director. Again, with these, they got to have at least a bachelor's in the same fields. And what this is they, a lot of people are like, well, isn't that kind of like the fitness director and stuff? A lot of times they kind of are in some places. But really what they do is, so if you have a gym that has this, these folks go out into the community and they go to groups, right? So they go to either like it could be anything from an old folks home to a business to, like some other type of group entity, could be a hospital or whatever, or they could work for a business or a hospital or a community center as well, right? They sometimes fitness facilities will use this as another stream of revenue. Sometimes these are in-house positions at places. And what they're there to be is basically like they will be the fitness director. They will be personal trainer. They're going to be your health coach. They're going to be your nutrition counselor. They're going to be everything for everybody in that, whoever they're working for. So, again, say you work in a big business, right? You work in some financial business. You may have a wellness director or coordinator. That person is going to constantly be like, like telling you guys, you need to get moving, you need to exercise. They may have a facility for you to exercise. They may be like, hey, we'll give you time to come in and do this and that and all these other things, and really give you a lot of options. Right. And they're going to have like, coordinate like 5K runs, or they can coordinate like, education, right? So on nutrition, on fitness, on all kinds of other things, right? So that's what they do. They're there to basically be a health liaison to help the population in that group get healthier, right? It's not about everybody walking in and looking like freaking, like mighty fine in their clothes. They're not, it's not like, like most people, when they think what we do in fitness, it's all about looks. Hey, a lot of, I'm going to say 90% of the clients you'll ever have, that's what they're coming in for. They're like, I want to look better. And that's fine. I got no problem with that. This is not their goal, although that it may be a really strong byproduct of what they're doing, but their goal is, they know that healthy adults are good working adults. They don't tire easy. They're less likely to be sick. They're less likely to spend time in the hospital. They're less likely to have heart attacks, which really keeps you out. Costs, the cost to the group healthcare and all those things. They're basically a cost reduction person from the health side. I mean, that's what it is. If they can either keep the workforce healthy or get the workforce healthy, there's all these less expenses that go on, right? That's what they're there for. Okay, they're a return on investment um, from a health perspective, right? And that's what it is, you know. And again, healthy employees are happy employees. Healthy employees are productive employees. You know, I mean, they're just, you know, you get so much more out of it, right? And again, when people see that that's an added benefit to working there, sometimes that's a like, man, I could work here, but I don't feel like they're investing in me. This place has a health director person that's going to help me with stuff. I want to go there, right? Both places are paying the same, but you know that's an added benefit, right? Fringe benefits. Um, so you'll see those in all kinds of different facilities. Hospital-based fitness centers are you again non-for-profit. You know, and again, there's a lot of things they may have there. So they may run all their cardio patients through there, their COPD patients through there. So they may have a mix of doctors and exercise physiologists and so on and so forth, as well as fitness personnel, because they may do some, you know, like take some like post rehab folks that are now like cleared to do more like generalized workout, you know, or they may share this. It just depends. And so you'll see a lot of that there as well. Group exercise supervisors, again, they should have a degree. Sometimes they don't. But you know, they really should. And then they're going to have some group exercise certifications, right? There's like a general one you can get through like AFA. To be honest, if somebody's got their CSCS, to me that qualifies as a group exercise, because again, if you have to work with like groups of athletes, you can oversee groups. And again, when you work with athletes, you have to work with athletes. Now, again, if you have your CSCS, you can work with cyclists. So you know how to help them, you know, like if you specify on that, you'll know how to help train them for cycling. Well, I mean, you know, it's not, you know, there are some differences between cycling and a cycling class, but you know, like when you really think about like keeping up their cardiovascular and all that, that's one thing. Now, again, knowing how to coordinate the music to the beats, you know, to the intensity of what they're doing on the bike and all that, that's a different thing. And again, it's good to have a certification in spin or cycling, because you know, it's not that you can't figure it out, but sometimes they'll give you like, you know, kind of the, you know, like uh, like those books for dummies type of like almost like crash course, and like, man, this is how you coordinate music and the beats and everything, and make it seamless and flawless, right? And the same thing with any of the other classes. They have certifications for pretty much any class you can do. um, you know, you go from the director, group fitness director, the fitness instructors. The fitness instructors are going to be basically, you want the same qualifications. It's just the director is probably going to have more experience, right? um, you know, corporate-based fitness organizations, again, they may be offered through like big fitness corporations. You may have you may actually create a business where that's what you do. You go into big businesses, you know, so you don't work for 24-hour, or you don't work for LA Fitness or anything, and you're doing the corporate wellness for them. You could create your own entrepreneurship where basically you go into different businesses and you are kind of like a wellness director person, or like a corporate based fitness organization that goes in and you get them healthy and things like that. Um, you know, or you could go in and design, like some, you know, you have some corporate based fitness where you go in, you help them design their fitness facility, you help them get them up and running. You're just a consultant. You know, I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities with that as well. They talk about general manager in here, and again, the general manager is very similar to the other managers, you know, positions that we talked about. So again, you know, the GM needs to have a background in either business or, like I say, I think exercise is better. Um, and they'll oversee everything. Exercise physiologists, again, you don't really have these in gyms. We have these, I mean, you're going to find exercise physiologists in either healthcare facilities, science facilities, you know, like research facilities, things like that. That's the only place you find them. You may find them with some sports teams and stuff, but really, yeah, not really. And basically the same thing. They're going to have at least a bachelor's, depending on which like ACSM certification you want to take. One requires a bachelor's, one requires a master's. So, and you have to have so many hours doing that stuff. A lot of times what exercise physiologists do is they either help conduct research in our field, so they're working in a lab doing research and things like that, or a lot of times they're cardiac rehab specialists is what they are. So that's a lot of the positions that you may see. That's a lot of the organizational design. It's not a comprehensive list. It's kind of a generalized good start, gives you kind of an idea, and again, I feel this book, you see in this book, it says, oh yeah, they need this degree. And when you go out in reality, a lot of times you don't see that. And the big reason is there's not a lot of people necessarily in our field with degrees. We've allowed too many folks into our field without. Again, this is a good reason why, when opportunities arise to push for licensed practitioners in our field, or push for just higher standards in general, we need to. It'll get rid of some of the so-called Instagram, like, all these Instagram idiots selling detox teas and things. It just kind of pushes them out of the field at some point, hopefully. But yeah, there's a lot more opportunities than what we just went through. And again, we'll touch on some of that stuff as you go through this book, but it's just one chapter, right? Anyways, chapter 2, if you have questions, just let me know, and I'll do chapter 3 next.